He's a quantum doctor. He's a quantum scientist. He is the greatest spiritual scientist I have ever met on this planet Earth. Traveling around the globe, I have never seen such a human being, so compassionate, so much human heart, but he never speaks about love, but he demonstrates it. Everything is an action. His love is demonstrated through teaching meditation to nooks and corners, everywhere. So, we were practicing certain modalities. After our meditation practice, we started actually our journey as doctors. We have seen how allopathic medical science is touching only very periphery, very, very superficial, very symptomatic. We wanted to understand the deeper science, deeper healing science. And we have found that nobody can heal others. Nobody can heal others. That's for sure. And everyone can self-heal themselves. All healing is self-healing only. Though healers are there, unless somebody wants to heal, they can't be healed. You can take the horse to the pond and you can't make the horse to drink the water. You can't force. Even the healing process is self-healing process. We have found beautiful modalities. We work through inner child. Lot of our wounds, emotional wounds, later on, they'll be turned towards physical body. They become physical illnesses. The emotional wounds, which we carry from the inner child, our childhood. Our scientists have mapped around more than 90 diseases, illnesses, are born from the fetal state, when we are in the embryo state, when we are becoming a zygote. There is something called conception trauma, gestation trauma, an entire process of growth that's happening inside the womb space. Many diseases, imprints are sown there. Many people, these genes, these imprints, they are going to be expressed as some physical illnesses later on life. Inner child work and PLR, past life regression. How many heard about past life regression here? Most of you. That's wonderful. Because this is such a beautiful tool we have found. It is a healing tool. And a past life regression facilitator is only a facilitator. He's not a healer. Nobody is a healer. Everyone is a healer unto themselves. And past life regression is a facilitation of a process where a person can access root cause memories. Memories can come from anywhere, from the past, from other dimensions, from parallel worlds, because it could be our learning process where a person in the regression session can go beyond time, space, can access that insight, lesson to be learned, memory, and they process it, they release it. So past life regression is a very powerful tool. We have been working since 25 years on this. Constellation work, another beautiful work. I will be speaking about epigenetics and how this transgenerational healing through constellation work can help actually stop the entire passage, entire carrying the genes of cancer, illnesses through many, many generations. People carry like a heritage, like a legacy. Cancers, it runs in the family tree. Many illnesses are running through family tree. And scientists were wondering, you have this gene in your family, bound to get it. There's no answer through medical science so far. But so much of work is being done through transgenerational constellation work. So we have been working on this tool also. Another biggest tool we have always fascinated is about the breath. The breath is such a beautiful tool. Simple practice, anapanasati. Your breath is such a guide and healer. So it can guide you into healing process. So friends, we are going to share about our findings through these 7 principles that we have found, soul science research. We have experienced through our own practice of meditation. The first soul science research finding is I am God You are God. We have forgotten the words of Jesus Christ, who said, You are a God. Everyone is God. And we have forgotten. When Patriji used to call everyone gods, I used to wonder why he is calling everyone God. And it's blasphemy, our thinking, our religious conditioning says that how can you say everyone is God? If you are God, I am God. It's like ego. No, it is most profound truth. It is written in one of the Upanishads. It's called Aham Brahmasmi. It's an experience of a meditator where they experience non-dual consciousness. Consciousness which is non-dual, not caught in this duality and polarity, which transcended this duality, which experiences this non-separateness. I am God, you are God. From this source, we heal ourselves. When you are God, you know that you created all things. You created sickness, you created poverty, you created messed up relationships, you created worse things that happening in your life. And we blame others. Generally we think, oh, I did not create this. I did not want to experience illness. But you are the God of your own universe. Aham Brahmasmi. You can create health, you can create prosperity, you can create all things in your life. Everything that you want to create is possible for everyone. We have forgotten that we are gods. We thought that we are devils, evils. But meditation makes us actually to experience this. It's not a theoretical or intellectual understanding. A guru saying you are God, that won't make any difference. Many people, they chant prayers, and in that it is written, all the Upanishads and Vedas. But it's only like a parrot, they repeat it. I am God, you are God, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Sarvam Khalidam Brahma. But they have not experienced it. Swanubhav is very important. Without Swanubhav, without your own experience, everything is only a theory. Theory won't make any difference. Every meditator experiences this divine human being. They experience God inside them. This God creates everything. In the childhood, I created many illnesses. I owned my creations. I created fevers. I remember as a child, I created whenever I want to spend more time with my mother and father. I used to really create fever. 103 degrees temperature. So my father checks and puts her hand on my head, loves me more. Just for that sake of love and affection, I used to create illnesses. I used to meet accidents so that I will get a lot of attention from people. I created. I understood when I came into meditation path that I am the creator of my reality. I am the God of my universe. There is no external God actually writing our destiny. Nobody writes your destiny good or bad. You are the creator of your own destiny. So this is the first soul science finding. Every meditator encounters through their own experience. And second one, and now our own scientists have come out with the findings, mind-body connections. Yesterday, Amit Goswami was speaking about this. The mind which is not the brain, but mind which is everywhere. Every cell carries its own mind, its own consciousness. And how there's an intercommunication that's happening at a speed of light. More than that. So there's a branch of science which is evolutionary branch, psychoneuroimmunology. I remember when I was in microbiology as a student in medical college, I was actually so fascinated about research on the mind. I used to always interested about hypnosis, the power of mind, even before I entered into meditation path. I have seen a stage hypnosis, and hypnotist said, you are now eating a sweet, laddu, jalebi, nice, yummy sweet. And the person is eating chilies. He was hypnotized. But he is eating chilies, he is enjoying, he is smiling as if he's eating a sweet, a delicious sweet. And from that day, I started actually investigating into the power of mind. The mind is very powerful. So this mind can really be utilized. It's a beautiful instrument, a tool to create so many things. So I'll also share about this power of mind. One hypnotherapist was very, very popular in that area. And the wife came to know that I have migraine, I must seek the help from hypnotherapist. He may suggest something, he sows some seed thought and suggestion in my mind, and the migraine will go away. She used to go almost 1 week, almost every alternate day for hypnosis session. And she was cured and she came back very happily. And she was so happy, she shared this to the husband. So look at me. My migraine has gone. That hypnotherapist has fixed my mind. And something happened, my migraine is gone now. You must go now because we were married since a long time, but you are not so great in the bed. Our love making is not so great. Please go and see this hypnotherapist. He can do something for you. And he was now very excited about this. Okay, if I can make good in the bed, then it must be very interesting. He went with this motivation and incentive that I'll be good in the bed. So hypnotherapist was helping him and doing something. And every session, he used to come back and in the bed, he was making such a passionate love with the wife, and never she had seen the husband was so interested 3 times. One round is over, he used to quickly go to the bathroom and come back and make again passionate love. He used to lift her in his arms, and 3 times every day. Oh, she was wondering what happened, such a dramatic shift. Hypnotherapy worked really. And one day she was so curious, she wanted to understand why he is going into bathroom 3 times. So after making love, he's going inside the bathroom, and she peeked into the bathroom, what he was doing. She saw he's standing inside the mirror, in front of the mirror. He was saying in the mirror, she was not my wife, she was not my wife, she was not my wife. Hypnotherapist taught how to hypnotize his own self. And then he could make love, passionate love with his wife. Mind. The same thing we do with our bodies also. We create illnesses. You tell that I have cancer, I'm going to get in cancer, my grandfather has, my forefathers have, my ancestors carry the cancer gene, I am definitely bound to get cancer. Any illness, you can experiment. Simple illness you can try, cold, influenza. You can create within no time, hours. Within hours, you can create cold, influenza. Any disease you can manifest. You are such powerful creator. This says that our psyche, our mind, is much far bigger entity than the body. People are so obsessed through our conventional medical science. I'm not putting down all the medical doctors. It's such a great science. I have such deep respect for medical science, for emergencies. Anything that happens in your body, you need to sometimes emergency medicine. It is only for emergency. But treating the body is not going to help us. We need to treat the root cause, the cause. People think bacteria or virus are the causes for the illness. It's not. It's not. They are only excuses. Your immune system is down and you open the doorways for the illness to enter into you. Through other alternate healing systems, beautiful research was conducted how an illness comes into the body. The spiritual research says that your illness is coming from your causal body, Karana Sharir. We have Panchakoshas. And from there the illness starts. A meditator who is practicing meditation can know this. How the illness is started coming. From where? What is the source? There is a Karan Sharir. There is a big cause, the root cause. that imprint, whatever the negative imprint, is started coming down from that causal plane, which enters into astral plane. Your emotions, your thoughts, everything going to be stirred, disturbed. There are going to be turbulences. And then it percolates into your etheric body. Etheric body is the energy body, where yesterday Amit Goswami was telling about the energy experience. He felt it in the body. So many meditators, they experience this. And there are blockages in the energy flow in the etheric body. So illness enters in the etheric plane. People have noticed that this chakra is blocked, this endocrine is not functioning, and my Anahata chakra is not functioning. They know it. They sense it in meditation. This energetic blockage. Finally, it manifests in the physical body. That's how the illness enters into you. And how to heal it? You need to heal your causal body, heal the astral body, heal the etheric body. Through self-healing, through meditation. So friends, there's a study conducted, I don't know which university, but I have read about in a book, Tears of Joy and Sadness. It's a beautiful study. One man was made to watch all kinds of video clippings, two kinds of video clippings. One is about happy and comedy and a lot of joyful videos. He was so much like children playing, and he was expressing such a joy in their tears. They collected the tear drops and they sampled. They did the analysis of these tear drops. They want to find out what is the biochemical composition of the tears of joy. And they did same thing with the tears of sadness too. They shown video clippings about violence and beating, cruelty, and all that. There was so much sadness, that person emoting, and they collected these teardrops. And they found out that the biochemistry has changed. The emotion changing, emotion and chemical composition in the body instantly is changed. Just a gap of 2 minutes. A person emoting with a happiness, person emoting sadness, the biochemistry has changed. Dr. Candace Pert, yesterday Paul Dorin, he was mentioning about Candace Pert, and I think other speakers were also mentioning about beautiful work of this amazing scientist and author of the book called Molecules of Emotion. Your emotions, your thoughts, immediately change your biochemical composition in the body. Is medical science completely validated about it? Whenever you are happy, you're going to secrete what is called endorphins and enkephalins. There are many neuropeptides which are released in your brain, from the body, and which raises your immune system. Whenever you are unhappy, gripped with the fear, and we are going to release what is called catecholamines, stress hormones, which are going to deplete your immune reserves. Scientists validated this, medical science. So friends, another principle called Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Soul scientists or meditators, they come to know about this truth one day or other. If you are a sincere meditator, one day you will come to know that there is no certainty at all. Whatever the Heisenberg has found out, uncertainty principle, it was actually discovered long back by Buddha, long back by ancients, meditators. Everything is uncertain. If you look for certainty, certainty exists only in the graveyard. Person who is dead will not experience any kind of such upheavals. If you are alive means know that you are going to be, everything is going to be flux, changing. Everything is impermanent. This is what Buddha said. Everything is anitya. Everything changes. Don't stick. Don't think that you're going to be all the time very youthful and young. You will wrinkle. You will have gray hairs. One day you need to lose your teeth. You need to vacate the body. Nothing is certain. So one of the soul science research says that everything is uncertain. When we use this for medical science will find that there is hope because of uncertainty. You can't, medical doctors generally they have labeling. They label the person. This is a terminally ill cancer, prognosis is bad and you're going to die in 6 months' time. But it is uncertain. I have met exceptional people who had courage to heal themselves, their cancers, their coronary artery disease. There are many people, because student of Patriji, I keep meeting lot of meditators who healed their illnesses. Medical